The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu cha Jamii. I'm your host Eunice Mugo. Today on the show we are talking about how to parent an adolescent child. How is it for you as a parent? Are you having an adolescent? How is parenting for you? Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GPS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. I'm not alone. I have a guest with me who is going to help us to understand better how to parent an adolescent child. I will allow her to introduce herself. Welcome, guest.
Thank you. Viewer, good morning. My name is Catherine Karira. I'm a preteens, teens, youth mentor. And today talking about parenting adolescents, that is the teens. But we also need to make sure that we touch them from preteens so that we can be able to understand how to grow them into responsible adults.
Thank you so much, Madam Catherine, for coming.
Thank you.
To start with, you've just spiced up the conversation of saying we need to understand them from the preteens to teens. How do we now start that conversation and understanding our preteens to teen age?
Thank you. We have to be intentional and very deliberate. Remember, as you're getting to preteens or to adolescents, they want some independence and they even want to separate from us.
Sure.
So it is we as parents to be intentional and deliberate to create in a relationship. And as we parent them, we have to realize, to know what is trading. We have to understand the seasons. Because preteens, adolescents, they normally tend to trade with what is trading. So if a parent is there and they don't know what is trading, then they are going to be left behind. When the children are becoming adolescents, and that is 10 years to 19 years, and I want to group them into three. The lower one is between 10 and 13. That is another adolescent or another teenager. Then we have the middle teenagers. That is between 14, 15, 16. Then we have the later ones that are almost now exiting teenagehood. So we must make sure that we come so much into their space as a parent. But again, as we parent, we have to reparent ourselves. Carry yourself 10 years away, 10 years back when you're growing. Understand what you went through. I said we need to understand what is trading because they tend to trade with what is trading. So we have to come to their space. And what we see, what we hear is going to be very appropriate for our parenting. We cannot parent the way we were parented. This is a generation that does not want just to be talked to. They want to be listened. So we have to bring in a conversation that wouldn't have done it in our times with these children. We have to know how to help them speak out. We are helping them to speak out because there are so many things that they are facing. Today, they have a myth, by the way, the adolescents, they tell me that there's a particular tree that they can go and run around for some times and they change their gender. So we cannot just assume that a girl wants to grow to be a woman. We cannot just assume that a young boy is just growing to be a man. So it is us to be able to instill the character that we want them to grow in. We have to be that talking, listening parent. We have to come into their space so much. As we become talking, listening parents, we have to develop them to be competent in all their levels, such that a 10-year-old girl will be able to say no to any friend that is not working with the character that is instilled from home. Therefore, as a parent to adolescents, we have to be very calm. Our parents made enough noise. These people don't want noise. We have to be very calm. Then we also need to be very firm. We have to be in control. Calm, firm, in control. Because they can tell you things and you wonder now what happens. But we have to be a parent that is proactive in thinking. Thinking ahead for the current parent is not an option. We have to think, what can they tell us? What can they ask us? Because you can imagine, they have seen it all. The generation that have sat and had the Supreme Court rule, make a judgment about the LGBTQ. They are seeing the Gen Z now on the street today as we talk. There are students that have come to school and they are saying, no, my mother cannot sit me down. I have a boyfriend and final, it is me. So it is you to be able to grow your child in a way they're going to be competent and they can say no to it. I have brought character, I have brought competent, and I want to bring now confidence. We have to be able to bring them in a way that they are confident, that they can say no without feeling like they want to apologize. They have to be able to know what is right, what is wrong. Parents, it is important for us to understand that children will see, children will learn. What are they seeing in you that they can copy? Adolescents, I said earlier, they want some level of independence, and they also want to separate. So as a parent, again, you have to be intentional. You have to sell yourself to this child, because, by the way, they don't look at us like very good people. They don't love their parents. By the time they are coming, but let me go down to age 5. Age 5, 6, they want to see the parents as heroes. As they come to age 9, 10, they are saying, Mom, you're limiting me. As they are coming to an adolescent, they're even embarrassed by parents. That is why they would want to tell you, when you're coming to visit me, come in that purple dress, not the green one you wear. But again, we have to be fair, firm, and friendly. We cannot parent without being friendly to these children, because very many things are competing for the space of our children. Again, looking at adolescents, there's a lot of peer pressure today. And one of the peer pressure that makes me feel very uncomfortable is peer pressure not to be pure. Where the adolescents, they have a slogan, Mavajuni Fara. So we have to tell them, by the way, sex is not a play game for children. And we cannot shy away. And I thank God that I have a Bible today. If a parent, you have a problem with speaking to your children about sex, it is written here. And they have to understand that LGBTQ is not, it's not swag. The Word of God calls it an abomination. And they have to own the processes of their life. We have to spell the consequences as they are. There's that question that I always ask when I'm talking about parenting. Did the youngest girl in Kenya who was 9 years to get pregnant know what they were doing? They may not have known. Because by the way, the generation is coming from playing the game they call Kalungulu, where they have had sex as children. Now they are growing with it. And it is the other day we heard that in Kenya, HIV and AIDS on the increase in the ages between 10 and 12, and they said these are not children that were born positive for HIV and AIDS. These are children that have acquired the virus. So parents, we cannot shy away. Parents, we cannot bury our head in the sand. Parents, you have to be hot, raw, real, and nice. You have to tell them as it is. You have to ask that young girl, do other children in your class talk about boyfriends? Then out of that, please tell them the right thing to do. Tell them, number one, that boyfriend, by the way, boyfriend-girlfriend relationship is not a password to life. So that they don't feel like I have to have a boyfriend to live. The Bible tells us there's a time for everything. We have to tell them. And then we have to tell them that, by the way, nobody will ever die for not having sex. The parent, you have to be speaking. Remember, as a parent, you are not only parenting, you are the first role model. And as I said earlier, children see, children learn. What are they seeing you doing? Yes.
Interesting. The things that you've just mentioned and listening to you makes a lot of sense. You've said about you cannot die because of not having sex,
Yes.
and the notion of vagoni mafala. And also, right now, it is so popularized being in a relationship, especially with the social media space that we are in. Actually, to my surprise, Right now, TikTokers,
Yeah.
so to speak, are young girls
Yes.
who are mothers. And they're like, parenthood is, we're not saying parenthood is bad, but at their age, they don't know much about parenthood. But they're so bold coming out saying what they want to do for their children or for their child and what. And shocking enough, it's a child and a child.
That's true. Looking at the oldest adolescent is 19. This is a university student. They could be in second year or third year. And looking at the youngest adolescent is 10 years. And it takes the two to mingle. So when we see people in TikTok telling us, yes, that parenting is wow, it is important for us to understand that teenagehood is time to figure out, but you can be disfigured.
Let me ask you this. As you are talking about parenting our adolescent children, we don't forget the African culture,
Okay.
whereby we were brought up knowing we can only have sex when you are married.
All right.
And you're only married after you finished school and everything.
Okay.
Right? But the Western part is so comfortable in dating. It's so comfortable with the LGBTQ that you've just mentioned. It's so comfortable with all those things that we find it as a taboo in the African setup. How do we help our children to understand we are not from the West and we can never be the West? Reason as to why I'm bringing this out is because like I've mentioned the TikTokers, I have seen a girl who's 13 and the boyfriend is 16. Surprisingly, right now they already got a kid. But if they're going out on family vacation, if it's the girl's family taking them out, they'll carry around the boyfriend. If it's the boy's family going out for a trip, they'll carry around the girlfriend. Right now, it's like they are couples, but they are still living with their parents separately. But they do still meet to bring up their child.
The reason social media is called social media is because we groom ourselves to come to the screens. Yeah, we see them going for outing, but we don't see the many nights that girl sits down to breastfeed the baby. We don't see even the pain that the parent now to this child goes through to taking care of this little girl and this little child. What we need to understand is, as I said earlier, we have to understand the trends. Because they tend to trade with what is trading. We have to be able to understand and tell our children, just because it is trading doesn't make it a trade. The girl may be feeling nice that I have a baby, but look at it, the risk of having a baby when you're just a child. I normally call them children with babies, a child with a child. One thing is we know that emotionally, they can be crushed. Also, by the way, we know there are quite a number of girls that die giving birth.
Sure.
We also know that there are quite a number of girls that give birth to stillbirth. Then also, by the way, the earlier you start doing sex, the worse it is for yourself. Because your body is not mature. Let's pick the 10-year-old. Her body is not mature. And we know the boys they are calling boyfriends are the carriers of human papillomavirus. If you started doing sex at 10, by the time you're 19, you're going to have multiple. So at the end of the day, you lose. And the boy child will come and say, me, I don't want to marry anybody who is not a virgin. And they're the ones that have gone making sure that others are not virgin. So just because it is trading parents, we have to tell our children it is not right. And parents, we have to speak more than social media. Remember, we talked about being competent. We spoke about character. Now we need to spell out the consequences. Yes, it is true. They might show us like there is the in thing. But we also know the numbers of children with HPV, with gonorrhea, with syphilis is on the increase. Let them not think that what is glittering is always gold. Let them also remember that a snake has a beautiful skin, but inside is it is dangerous. So as a parent, we have to be able to relate our today parenting with what is happening, so that we can be able to counter the lies that are trading out there, so that this child will know that they have a whole life to live, and not only a whole life to live, that the choices that you make today can either make you or or they can break you. So as a parent, I said you have to be hot, raw, real, and nice. Let us start with the word hot. Hot, I normally take it as an acronym, where H is honest. Parents, you have to be very honest with yourself. You have to be very honest with the time now where you're growing your children. And that is why I normally say, as a parent, you have to have eyes that are hearing. You look at your child and you hear it all. After you have heard it all, you speak out. Then you have to be very truthful. Raw. Social media, TikTok, as you have told us, and that is where they are, they don't hide anything. So you have to be raw. You have to tell your child, and by the way, it is written here in the Bible, there's a time for everything. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 will tell us there's a time for everything, a time for kissing, and a time for not kissing. So parents, we need to have spoken. By the time they are going to social media, to TikTok, let them go knowing that parents, you have spoken. As we are getting very raw, let them know that very many people are dying every day because of casual sex. What we take casually makes us a casualty. Then we have to be very real in life. An adolescent needs some space. An adolescent needs some independence. But again, this can only be age appropriate. As long as they are entering into your house through your main door, and they have their bedroom inside your house, or even if it is out there, and they are eating from your kitchen, you have to spy on them. I know psychologists normally say, why spy? But Jesus told us, spy. You have to spy on them. You have to know. Because these are just children. 19 years, he's in campus. 19 years, he's got an ID, but his brains are not mature yet. Human brains do not mature until you are 24, 25 there. So they still need us to monitor them. Then we have said hot, raw, real, nice. We have to be very friendly to these children. Very friendly to them.
Interesting. I listened to someone some time back, and they were saying we have to draw a thin line when it comes to our children. I'm your parent, I'm not your friend. In the sense of whereby them to understand when I'm friendly, I'm friendly. We can be friends, yes, but at the same time, I'm your parent. So that as parents, we don't value so much being friendly to our children that we lose the value of being a parent, whereby this child doesn't see a big deal, anajua what's the worst that mom can do? Ni kunikasirikia tu na akose kuniongelesha. But after 1 week, because what I'm learning currently and what I have seen, I've had this before, but right now is when it's making a lot of sense. Children are very smart. They learn, they know. Right. If you say nitakuchapa and you don't beat, they just know mama nasemanga atanichapa na ha. So they know this is your weakness. You don't beat me. So they start now blackmailing us to do what they want. How do we help our parents today, especially us young parents, to be able to draw that clear line of knowing, and also for our children to understand and know? You know, when our parents, it's not that we are not that true, we were not close to our parents before. But when we grow older and a lot of things are making sense, that is when we go back to our parents and become best of friends. But because they were denying us a lot of things, we were not friends. But right now we need to draw that clear line so that my child can know when mommy says no, it's a no. Say no and I'll just do it and I can't do anything. They already know that pattern. How do you help us?
Good. As you are parenting now adolescents, if they have grown with the no all through, you cannot come and withdraw the no when they are 17. So even as we talk about parenting the adolescents, well, let us assume that this parent has other smaller children. So as they grow to 17, 19, which I called late adolescents, we cannot just tell them no what you have allowed, because what you have allowed is what will continue. What we need to do is sit them down, let them differentiate between a right and a privilege. It is in this nation of ours, Kenya, where we have had an adolescent commit suicide because their phone was withdrawn from them. They needed to have understood from day one that this is a privilege. And this is a right. And a privilege can be recalled. So we don't want to wake up one day and be very tough on them. Because again, they are very fragile. Because again, they have gone and Googled on the easiest way to commit suicide. So parents, what you need to do, the lower, the earlier ones, which I said 10 to 13, if you have been using the rod of discipline, you can use it more. 14 to 17, you can still use it if you have been using it, but you cannot introduce it now. And that is why I said this generation needs us to listen and talk to them. We need to come to table and spell out the expected behavior. I have a phone for you. I've given it to you. If I catch you using it the wrong hours, I'll withdraw. Lay out a structure on how to use that. And it is true what you have said, that children are very smart. And by the way, adolescents look at us and they think we know nothing. They look at you and they wonder, Mom, is there anything you know? Forgetting that we know everything also. So they have to understand that, yes, I am a friend to them, but I'm also a parent to them. The reason I'm friendly to them is because I want to not only shield them, I want to be able to enter into their heart of heart. The adolescents and the lower children, they go where there's fun. That is why when you go to Uhuru Park those days, and you could get the bouncing castle, even if you had not intended to take your child, they want to go there. Or the painting. So we have to make sure that we give them a home that is very conducive for them to want to come back home. Because they're looking for independence and they're looking for separation from us. But as long as there's fun at home, they will want to come home. And even if you don't have the way to have fun at home, be the fun yourself. That is why we need to be so friendly to our children. We are so friendly to them, so that when they are out there, they want to come back home. We have had children literally walk out of home and disappear. And I keep asking myself, why do they disappear? And some will tell me, I tried to speak to my mother. She was not hearing me. She was just beating me. Every time is not a time for using the rod. Sure. We need to listen. And by the way, the rod is an acronym for me. Right of discipline. Parents, we have a right to discipline our children. But again, discipline is not punishment. So you don't have to just smack and smack and smack. Make your home very user-friendly for them. Let them feel like it's a safe haven for them to come. Yes.
Interesting. Indeed, it's a safe haven. Moving on. These children that we are parenting today, they want us to listen to them.
Good.
To what extent are we parents supposed to listen to our children? Not forgetting, you said we cannot bring them up the same way we were brought. And again, hakuna manual. And how I put it is, how I was brought up. That's the only way I know how to do it best. How do we then unlearn how we were brought up and relearn how to bring them up differently? So that we don't have, this one I have had a lot of times when I'm interacting with the young girls and boys, and they're saying, you cannot parent us the way we were brought up.
We cannot.
We cannot. I agree. But how do we bring them up? Especially the generation Alpha. They are so verbal in what they want and so categorical. I mean, when I was 13, I could not even have talked to my mother what they are talking to me today.
And by the way, those are the ones, sisi ndio tuko. So they'll keep talking. So, so what we need to do is a parent, even as they are saying we cannot parent them the way we were parented, we cannot compromise on discipline and manners. We cannot compromise on discipline and manners. So even as they tell us, no, we cannot parent them the way we were parented, you must make sure that you know how to discipline, and you must make sure that you know what manners you can tolerate at home. And what manners are picked at school, they should not come to your gate. Remember, if you're friends with somebody, you want to please them. So it is us parents to sell our friendship to these children. We have to go out of their way to accommodate them. But because we are the senior in the game, we are wiser. Even when they look at us and they think we don't know anything, you're still wiser. So you have to use that wisdom of the snake. The snake is very wise, very crafty. That is how we are going to parent these children. And wanting to listen to them, let them tell you everything. Even if they're not telling you everything, try and get it out of them. Be a parent that is humorous. Create some humor. Be a parent that works together with your children. Go to the market together. Clean the utensils together. Have a joke. Look at your child, even if it's a boy that is 19, and just go and smack him. Okay? Have an opening. Then talk to them. Even have an imaginary story. When we were growing up, our parents gave us very many stories, weird stories of giants that had a mouth at the back. So create imaginary stories so that you can help them open up. Like one thing is, ask them, 19 is in a university. 18 could be in the university, and then we have the high school. So just ask this 19-year-old, by the way, nasikianga kwenu mnakunywa blue pill. Remember I said you have to know what is trending. Your son might ask, Mami nani alikwambia tunakunywa blue pill? Then you say, I saw it on TikTok. Then you start now talking to your child. Oh, do you know what blue pill is? Then they might say they don't know and they know. So don't just ask and leave it there. Let it be a door. From there now ask them, by the way, nasikia kwenu kuna vijana wanakuanga na nyaks kama ya wasichana. You know, nowadays I'm told nyaks. Even today when I was coming up the stairs, I had someone talk about nyash. So tell them yes, that yes, a man is supposed to be a man because of the muscles they have. They don't have to go and have a nyash to feel a man. Parents, you have to come to the space. We have to understand. Thank you for laughing. By the way, the girls, they just told me the other day that, Madam, you know, nowadays when a boy tells you that you have a big nyash, you feel very nice.
Your nyash should be nyashing.
And I told them that even the zebra has a bigger nyash. So as a parent, you have to come to their level. So now we have talked the campus and let's do the high school. The high school, we have Form 1 now, and we have Form 4. Next, I think it's going to be a little bit different because we may not have a Form 1. Ask them, by the way, nasikia kwenu kuna malele. Ask them, and even tell them, did I see a note? Did I see that note that was written to you by a lesbian? You're probing them. Don't just assume. As you're not assuming, now we have talked to them. Tell them that they should not allow, they should not allow a fool to kiss them or even a kiss to fool them. You speak. Do you want to repeat what I have said?
Do not allow what?
A fool to kiss you or a kiss to fool you. Tell them. Tell them. By the way, it is very sad because I'm dealing with a 15-year-old girl who is 7 months pregnant, and the owner of the pregnancy is a university student. And the girl is telling me he was my boyfriend and he is my boyfriend.
Unapologetically. I want us to take a break and then we'll come back to that.
Right.
Viewer, I hope you're learning as much as I interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.